Currently pre-cooling and loading the fridge, and we got some good beers on tap too. So I am officially underway. I'm on 287 North right now. I'm gonna hit 80 West and head towards Evanston, Wyoming, and then hit the BLM lands surrounding that area, make camp today, and then it's on to Idaho tomorrow. But for now, chewing up pavement, got about 5 hours to go. So it's probably gonna be a lot of podcasting and a lot of staring through the windshield for a little while. Here's the glorious part about being on the road. Stop for gas in Laramie, pop open the computer, kick off task, check Slack, do whatever. So sitting in the gas station parking lot with the computer out, very, very fun stuff. Finally made it to Idaho. Finally got on the water. Gorgeous spot. Camped right on the edge where I launched the kayak from. Weather's fantastic. You really just can't beat this, man. It is 10 past 9 on a Wednesday night in central Idaho. Considering the fact that it is still very light out, I think it's safe to say that summer is here. Last night was fantastic. That was kind of the first real proper camping night, really kind of like set the tone to get the trip going, you know. Currently just shy of 1,000 miles in, and we'll cross the Oregon border here in about 10 minutes. And then the real fun begins. So, looking forward to it. Let's hit it. Yesterday did not go as planned. I crossed over to Oregon, accidentally missed the turn to get over here to Bend. Kept chugging along on 84 West, not even thinking about it, just firing back. And about 20 miles down the road before I realized I need to be actually cutting in off of 201 and getting onto 20. So I got turned around at a truck stop, threw the Jeep on the scales just for fun. 6,200 pounds, a record which I have actually broken on the Toyota, but obviously a little heavy for this platform. Anyway, start cruising back towards Ontario, and as I'm climbing a big hill, I notice the engine temp is pinging. It's climbing and fast and very, very hot. I look on the programmer, and it was at 265, which is way, way too hot. So pulled up on the side of the road, checked fuses, checked relays. I'm looking for anything simple that it could be, and I'm striking out. So limped it back to Ontario, and at that point, man, I knew we might have a real problem on our hands. My main concern was that I'd blown a head gasket, and on these Pentastars, if you blow a head gasket, it won't send the oil back into the coolant. Or so I'm told, at least. Knock on wood, I'll never find out. But supposedly, the main indicator that the blown head gasket is not going to be present like that. So it's kind of a guessing game. There is one Napa and I think one AutoZone in town, so I also wasn't super excited about the idea of starting to tear this thing apart and trying to throw parts at it or diag it and start fucking around in a town where there's a very real possibility that parts are going to have to be overnighted or 2-dayed, and it's already Thursday, right? And so, with all those factors considered, swallowed my pride and just tried to find a shop that could diag this thing and figure it out and hopefully get me turned around a hell of a lot quicker than I could ripping the thing apart with my recovery tools in a parking lot. And I've got wrenches, and I've got vice grips, and I've got my impact, and I've got enough stuff to swap an axle shaft out and more or less limp most stuff out of the way. But man, I was not very excited about tearing down the cooling system, especially if it's a head gasket. I'm sure shit not going to do that in the parking lot myself anyway. So I was supposed to be here in Central Oregon about 1 o'clock. You know, you save an hour when you cross over. So I was really thinking, man, it'd make great time today and be hanging out. I can go and hit Silver Moon or go and hit Boneyard, you know, get some lunch, da da da. And that did not happen. So didn't end up getting in here until about 8 o'clock last night. But got in here, was not a head gasket, put a new T-stat in, and that thing stopped climbing. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if it wants to continue cooperating or if we need to keep digging in this cooling system. But for now, I was able to keep it on the highway, get over to Central Oregon, and we are finally here.
And that's excuse me.
Spent most of yesterday hanging out in town, and actually a little later than I had originally planned, but did a little night run, found a good spot last night, nice and quiet, secluded, didn't hear or see anyone else, which is rare on Memorial Day weekend here around Bend, so that was good. And now I'm gonna roll around, mark a couple other spots on the map that I want to check out, see what they look like. And then today, probably hang out in town again for the most part, because there is a show over at Silver Moon at 7 o'clock tonight. So, yeah, I think we'll do a little bit of running around the woods here this morning, and then head back over to Bend, and probably rolling late again tonight. We'll see what happens. I'll tell you, it wouldn't be an Oregon trip if you didn't get boned feet away from the finish line. Got this down tree, and I did not bring a chainsaw with me. I'm damn sure not gonna chop this thing up by hand. And I'm not sure if I really feel like pulling winch line to move this motherfucker. Well, that sleet is starting to come down out of the northwest, and I am pretty low on fuel. So made an executive decision not to fuck around and start pulling winch line and trying to move that tree. So got it in the back of my head, and I'll be back in like a month. So maybe we'll check it out then. A little bit warmer. Hopefully the Forest Service will clear some of that debris, and we can rock and roll then. want to, I don't know, hedge all of your bets on following that itinerary to a T. And I think one of the most fun things, or the most rewarding things, is breaking things up a bit, calling audibles, and making the most of what you have at any given time. So the plan to go up to Goose Lake in Washington fell apart. Weather was really shitty. I decided on Wednesday night, why not just spend the night in Portland, hang out with some friends again, really kind of tie one on, right? And in the back of my mind, I thought about the 2 different times that Toyota got broken into in the city. And wouldn't you know that Wednesday night, the same window that someone smashed in on the FJ just under 3 years ago got smashed in on the Jeep. It took my gym bag and my camp duffel, which meant that literally every single article of clothing I had that wasn't on my back went off into the night. Also meant that my weight belt, my trail runners, my wrestling shoes, a couple of the shirts I got at the show on Saturday in Bend from Jason Day West and Partner Smith went missing, along with a whole slew of other sentimental articles of clothing that in and of themselves were not super important, but they meant something to me, and they're off in the wind now, underneath a bridge, presumably, somewhere in northeast Portland. But by some stupid stroke of luck, the camera gear that I also foolishly left in there was not stolen. The laptop bag that I foolishly left in there was not stolen. Recovery tools, my wrenches, my impact, and any of the other significantly more valuable stuff that was in there was left alone. So yeah, by some stupid stroke of luck, the only thing that got stolen was my clothes. And given the current state of affairs in Portland, I can understand why. I'm trying to find that silver lining and be appreciative for what I have and where I'm at in life. I understood that obviously if you break into a truck, just because you see a bag that has clothes in it, you need them more than I do. So it was a penance I was willing to pay, especially one to learn the lesson to always trust and use my better judgment and not leave a giant invitation to break into my stuff sitting in the middle of the city of Portland. So the already modified plan of meeting Tyler at Goose Lake on Thursday for just a day run and camping up there then obviously didn't happen since I needed a new window and lickety split. Really awesome shop named MC Glass got me in same day on Thursday in Beaverton. Got that patched up and opted to just lick my wounds, go back down to Central Oregon and hang out in Bend. Bought a whole new slew of clothes, a new duffel bag, and headed down there to camp for the night. Thought about running back to Idaho on Friday, but thought I'd give it just one more shot at maybe a clear day to get out on the water, cast a rod, and maybe snatch up a couple salmon or kokanee or something like that. And unfortunately that didn't happen. But hanging out, hitting my favorite breweries in Bend for another 2 nights is not a bad adjustment to make. So all in all, after 8 days in Oregon, didn't get a single day of sunshine, and, didn't get to pull a kayak out once, didn't cast a rod once, but got to see some friends I haven't seen in a year and a half. Like I said, I learned a lesson the hard way, and still had a great time. So I really can't complain, and again, want to be thankful for the time that I did have and what I got to do. So here we are on Saturday, back in Idaho, and just a breathtaking camp spot. One that's on my short list. This is a real stunner, and one that I will come back to. And right as I say that, the sun is spilling out, which is fantastic. Weather's great, and couldn't ask for a whole lot more here as the trip kind of comes to an end.